Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is the Captain's Quarters Show. I am your host, El Milliner, the Captain. Thank you all for hopping aboard with me for another video. In this one, I will be discussing the whole argument, debate between rappers Lecrae and Dee-1 about can Christians be righteous and ratchet? Okay, this is a debate, a conversation that's been going on for the last about week or two that I noticed online. And if you don't know who they are, okay, Lecrae is doesn't call himself one, but he's a Christian rapper. Some call him gospel rappers, and I would say he's probably the most prominent rapper in that space. Okay, so most of the other rappers in the Christian hip hop space look at Lecrae as kind of like the creme de la creme of Christian rap. And Dee-1 is also a rapper in that space, but Dee-1 kind of has carved out his own lane. And, you know, I listened to a lot of Dee-1 back some years ago. I really liked his music, Lecrae as well. But over the years, Lecrae changed his tone of his music. And whereas Dee-1 kind of made the same music, always glorifying God. I never saw a different tone to his music. I never saw it change. Now, so I would say both of these guys are prominent in that space. So Lecrae, okay, in my opinion, based on what I know about him, I've seen him and I've heard a lot of his music. I've seen him do interviews, and he comes across since about 2018, 19, and up to now, he's very SJW-like. Whereas in 2020, he went very hard for the whole George Floyd thing. You know, even if you want to go back, even back before that, like Mike Brown back in whatever year that was, 2015 or 17 or whatever, he was big about that. You know, always seems to put his color first before God. So that's something that kind of I got away from because I noticed that about him. Now, in this debate about righteous and ratchet, so Lecrae had put out and said that Christians can be righteous and ratchet. So what is being righteous? Well, that's being godly, making the right decisions in situations when maybe it's not so advantageous for yourself, right? You may not self-preserve in that moment, but you do the right thing, even if it's at your detriment. Okay, that's being righteous. And ratchet is, at least in urban America, right? In the places I grew up in, ratchet means like hood, ghetto, no class, loud, ignorant. Okay, that's being ratchet. So can Christians be like that? Okay, no, because ratchet would be very worldly, and not only worldly, but like the bottom of the bottom, of being like a person can be somewhat classy, right? And still engage in debauchery and sin, right? But then you can be a person who's very low class and still be in debauchery and sin, right? So ratchet is like the low of the low doing the low of the low activities. So how can that be Christianity, right? Because you're supposed to be bettering ourselves, sanctifying ourselves, becoming more holy. Okay, so it makes no sense. Now, Lecrae said this, okay, he thinks you can be righteous and ratchet. He even created a clothing line or had a clothing line, and he put something like, I can quote Cardi B and Corinthians. So we all know Cardi B is very much ratchet. Okay, all the way ratchet, nothing holy about her, right? So he put that on the shirt, and that kind of fueled this thing as well. Now Dee-1 came out, and I'm gonna pull up the video where I don't have any of the tweets from Lecrae. Okay, so apparently I don't know if they got deleted or what, but I do have a video from Dee-1 where he discussed this situation, and Dee-1 I think really summed it up in this video. So I want to play this, and then I want to discuss something that just since I started making this video, I saw an article that was an update to the situation. So I will be bringing that into this content a little bit later. Now, let's check out what Dee-1 had to say in regards to being righteous and ratchet.
The Bible does not make room for ratchetness and righteousness, but black culture does, and hip-hop culture does. It makes room to be ratchet and righteous. There's literally a popular, I saw Christians posting about that stuff. I'm righteous and ratchet. Man, well, forget y'all, we ain't on the same team, because I'm real righteous and relevant. You heard me? That's what I am. I'm not righteous and ratchet. Like, what are y'all talking about? But black culture, I'm not pro-black more than I'm pro-God. And I don't care what black people think. You know what I'm saying?
He's not more pro-black than he is pro-God. God should be first, right? And then way down the totem pole, your skin color should come into play, right? Because it should be God. And then, you should be more concerned with your family, right? Just treating people the right way, being fair, being just, having high character. These things should come, and then way down, your skin color can come into play. But no, a lot of Christians, especially black Christians and black people in general, will elevate their skin color to the top of the totem pole before you know what kind of person they are, who they are really, how they treat people. You have to identify their skin color and acknowledge that first and foremost. That's a problem. That's what the ratchet, the low class I was talking about earlier, they elevate their skin color because that's the thing that they feel like gives them power in society. Recognize my skin color. I can act like how I want to act. Okay, that's the messaging there. Now, let me back up a little bit and let me let him finish what he's saying.
And I don't care what black people think. You know what I'm saying? Am I black? Am I proud to be black? Yes. But I'm not pro-black more than I'm pro-God, man. Because being pro-black will allow for a bunch of foolish, ratchet behavior that in the name of blackness, we all celebrate it. The Bible does not make room for.
So I think that sums it up pretty well, right? In regard to the whole righteous and ratchet debate. Okay. It's absolutely foolish to mix those two because now you're watering down who God is. It's insane. And for Lecrae to do that with when he's a person that, like I said earlier, he's looked at as the most prominent in the Christian rap space, although he many years ago said, I'm not a Christian rapper. He don't want to be labeled that, right? That was kind of a first red flag when he said that. So it's like, okay, you want to take the Christian out of what you're doing, but and you want to be more like the music changed, went way more secular, way more worldly. He sounded like a watered down version of T.I. and Drake and all these guys. And I recognize that. I'm like, I'm not vibing with that, right? So I moved on to other rappers. And it's just, man, I think Dee-1 put that in perspective, right? So now I was going to do the video, and then I saw this article right here. I'm going to bring this article up. Hold on one second. Get that off of there. And in regard to the whole righteous and the whole Cardi B, I can quote Cardi B and Corinthians. So this right here, I just saw, and here's the article. All right. This is from ChristianPost.com. Lecrae discontinues Thoughtless Cardi B t-shirt after criticism. Okay, so Lecrae is a Grammy Award-winning rapper known for his outward Christian faith and music, is discontinuing a t-shirt claiming Christians can quote vulgar rapper Cardi B and the Bible. It says Lecrae was initially called out by Louisiana MC Dee-1, that's who we just heard in the video, for his Righteous and Ratchet merchandise campaign last week. The campaign launched by Lecrae featured a t-shirt that read, I can quote Cardi B and Corinthians. Okay, then he goes on to talk about Dee-1, you know, with video where he just put out. And there was another video that he put out as well, I believe. And then Lecrae put out a video and he said, let's see, we can find okay, so here's what Lecrae said, right, in regard to the Cardi B t-shirt thing. Enough people have been frustrated or upset behind that Cardi shirt, and I want y'all to understand my intentions in my heart. First of all, it will be discontinued, just so you know that. The shirt was not about promoting debauchery or worldliness. That wasn't the intention. Okay, so number one, it's a pet peeve of mine personally when people tell me that their intentions were good about something, right? It's a bad result, but they say my intentions were good, right? And it's like, if you just sat back and had a little discernment and just like kind of looked at the situation before you just went and did something, you would see the result would be bad. But instead, your pride got in the way. You're some out of touch or something, right? Because you went and did something and the result ended up being bad. Of course it would be. But then you say, my intentions were good. Well, brother, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Okay? Stop leaning on that and saying my heart was in the right place and all that type of stuff. You know, okay, you're not like a brand new Christian or something. You've been doing music for like 10 years, 15 years or something. You've been a Christian for quite some time. How does it sound right to mix ratchetness with holiness? It makes zero sense. Cardi B is the epitome of worldliness. She's the epitome of debauchery. Like, what are you talking about? So anyway, he goes on to say, I can own the fact that I should have put more thought into that before we dropped it. You don't say. I didn't even consider some of these realities. See what I mean? He didn't even try to discern that, hey, this might not be a good idea, right? And nobody around him must have said, hey, man, let's think a little bit more about this. Is this a good idea? Like nobody, I guess everybody around him is yes men. Context is king, and Christianity in major cities and places that I dwell is a hotbed for racism, political ideology, homophobia, anti-intellectualism. And I always want to push back on people when they think that, because we're not. And that's not what Christianity is. But a lot of people think that's what it is. That's that SJW syndrome that he's got, right? Where he wants to elevate his blackness to the top of the totem pole, right? Let's bring God down a little bit. Let me put my color up here, and because his brother is gay, okay? So he's very lukewarm when it comes to homosexuality and being a Christian. When you're a Christian, God doesn't agree. He doesn't, open his arms to people to be homosexual and be a Christian. He wants to come in your life and clean you and make you whole. Being homosexual doesn't make you whole. It breaks you up. There's a void in you, right? That's evil in you to do that. So he wants to water down God and say, oh, racism, homophobia. We got, people think that Christians are all against all this stuff and or all these phobias, but all of us aren't. Christianity is not that. Well, sir, if I'm homophobic for agreeing with God about homosexuality is an abomination, then so be it. So be it. Why should you as a Christian worry about what the world is going to call you when you're standing up for God? I get it, but I don't get it, right? Because you're not a child, and you're not a child. You shouldn't be a child in Christianity because, like I said, he's been a Christian for quite some time. Man, so anyway, I will link this in the description so y'all can read this article. I think that I applaud Dee-1 for coming out and openly, publicly speaking on this, and specifically going at Lecrae about it, because so many of these rappers are afraid to mention Lecrae in a negative light, even when he does something that's openly ignorant, right? Or willfully ignorant. They're scared to call him out. And Dee-1, he stepped out there and just, man, he just laid it out in a godly way, right? He did it in a godly way. And he even said in one of the videos, hey, man, Lecrae could have called me, but instead Lecrae did like a video, talking about it, mentioning Dee-1. And so Dee-1 was like, hey, since you did it that way, then I'll just come back publicly and we'll just have this back and forth through Instagram videos or whatnot, right? But he's like, hey, Lecrae could have called me. So they do know each other. So, but that's just Lecrae. That's how he operates. So anyway, righteous and ratchet don't mix. So let's not go down that road. Okay. Anyway, y'all let me know down below in the comment section what y'all think about this. Do y'all disagree with what I'm saying? Do y'all agree with Lecrae, Dee-1? What do y'all think about what they said about it? And also about the whole shirt with Cardi B and Corinthians. I can quote both. Should Lecrae have even made that shirt? Since he did make it, should he have taken it down and removed it? Y'all let me know. Thank y'all. Leave me a like, share the video, and of course, hit that subscribe. Thank y'all so much for hopping aboard with me for this video. This was the Captain's Quarters Show. I was your host, El Milliner, the Captain. Until next time, I am gone.